All right, Anthony on Air podcast back for another episode. Boris Johnson has fired a top aide after they insulted his significant other. Have you ever insulted the boss's significant other? I have. We'll tell that story in a second here. Plus, here in New York City, we're seeing a massive exodus from NYC to the suburbs. I know that's happening in a lot of cities, probably yours. Maybe you live in the suburbs and you're noticing a lot more city people coming out to live. We got some pretty crazy information on that I'm going to share with you. And Pornhub has released the top porn searches per state during election week. And we're going to go over that list. And joining us on this episode, once again, is my beautiful wife, Cuddles. You can't see her, but she's here with us because she's taking care of the kids in the other room at the same exact time. Hi, Cuddles.
Hello.
Which one of those topics would you like to go over first? Boris Johnson, people leaving because of COVID, or Pornhub? It's good topics today.
They are.
I purposely didn't tell my wife any of the topics. This is the first time she's hearing about all of these.
Let's start with something fun. Pornhub.
Let's go with the Pornhub to start off. I love it. Okay, very good. So Pornhub released this. This is 2020 election week top relative searches. Terms searched more often in each state when compared to all other states. So obviously, everybody is searching the bejesus out of Pornhub at all times. That's always going to be happening. But for election week, things were a little bit different. And this was their take on that. They put out this infographic that details all the information. And so I'll be able to tell you what the most significant Pornhub searches were in your state. Let's see here. It's just funny to think that as people were wondering and waiting to see who the next leader of the free world would be, this is what they were putting into their Pornhub searches. Some terms were garden variety naughtiness, such as Alabama's big booty searches. So they like the big booties down there in Alabama. In Minnesota, their quest for POV clips were prevalent, and Oklahoma's lust for cheerleading porn was pretty big. By the way, POV is point of view. So that's
what was New York?
That's them's the porns where there actually looks like you're in it. Let's see here. In Iowa, battleground state, for a little while there it was, yoga pants porn was the most searched, whereas North Dakota was looking for pumpkin smut.
What?
I don't know why pumpkin.
What is that?
I don't know. I guess maybe they bang on top of some pumpkins, or maybe somebody does like a American pie with a pumpkin. I don't know. Having just carved our own pumpkins just a few weeks ago, I can't see how that would be any sort of a pleasurable experience whatsoever, to be honest with you. Pumpkin porn. Who would have thought?
God.
Way to go, Iowa. You freaked us all the hell out. Oh, no, that was North Dakota. I'm sorry. Yeah. North Dakota, again, one of those states where I feel like we can flip that to Canada easily and get something nice in return. You know, maybe Montreal or Toronto or something. Or Vancouver. I don't know. I'd love to get it off our books, though, to be honest with you. I feel like it's dragging us down. This is close to us here in New York. Connecticut wanted to see wedgie nudes. Have you ever looked at wedgie porn, my sweetheart? Be honest. You ever looked at wedgie porn?
No. Who are these people?
Who are these people? Let's see. None of the terms were election related, which is pretty surprising. I'm sure somebody at some point might have thought, well, election porn. Let me ask you this, babe. Do you feel the seasons in your porn searches? Like, are you more of an outdoorsy porn person in the summertime when the weather's nice?
I don't watch porn.
Around this time of year, do you prefer Santa hats on your porn stars?
Oh my God. Like, I'm just thinking about that scene from Bad Santa. Oh my God.
A few of the other popular search terms were spot on for the particular state. Louisiana hunted for Popeye's porn. I don't even that one.
This can't be real. This can't be real. this just cannot be real.
Are we
Who is
referring to the
who
sailor
is
or the chicken place in that instance? I'm not entirely sure.
I,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Because I mean, the chicken place, I'd love a good chicken sandwich after the fact. I'm not, you know that better than anybody else. You know, I like a good chicken sandwich afterwards.
All right, next date.
Some people like to light up a cigarette. I like to hit the microwave. Texans were looking for sex mex. I'm assuming that's porn involving Mexican people.
This can't be real. I don't understand that. I don't like.
My hope after this moment is that anybody who goes up to a Tex-Mex taco truck will now forever see me going sex mex porn is the thing. In Arizona, they wanted Navajo clips. There you go. Albeit for the Native Americans or indigenous people to get into the porn biz. While Utah took a more religious route in search for Mormon videos. That's interesting. As a middle-aged man who, let's be honest, if I told you I didn't consume pornography, nobody would believe it. So I've done my time. I can honestly tell you that we're hitting a lot of bases here that I've never even thought to hit, like sex mex and Navajo porn.
I thought like when people like surfed like Pornhub, they were like looking for MILF porn. Like, aren't those them? How are these? Who comes up with these?
Well, MILF porn's a big one. That's a pretty big category right there. MILF porn. A lot of people like the MILFs. Yeah, Mormon porn. Like, I don't even know what that is. Like Mormon, they're the ones who marry, like they have more than one wife, right?
No, is it?
Yeah, isn't that a Mormon thing, or is that am I wrong about that?
No, I don't think it's Mormon.
Who are the ones that have more, like that have like the sister wives? Those aren't the Mormons. Mormon
like
people,
polygamists.
I apologize. Yeah, aren't they polygamists? Mormons?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I could never, like, dealing with another one of you sounds horrible to me.
Well, I would imagine that that's what the porn involves. Like if you're going to tell me that there's Mormon porn, you're taking that a step farther than like group porn, like or orgy porn. Like, what's the difference between an orgy porn and a Mormon? Like, you can't just put a guy in there with 4 girls and be like, this is Mormon porn. She's got to be screaming at him for like the dishes or cut the grass, or there's got to be some sort of marriage element in that, or else it's just a group thing, and you're taking advantage of people by labeling it Mormon porn at that point if you're not going to go the extra mile and do it right.
What was Pennsylvania?
All right, let's see here.
Was it like Amish porn?
That would be something, right? Let me see here. Do you want me to go through all the states? Do you want me to pick off?
What was New York, like New Jersey, and like Pennsylvania?
All right, let's start with New York. It's hard because they pull them off the map and they're not exactly in order. I'm looking for New York. Okay. All right. See, this is disappointing now. Take a guess. What New York would be.
I don't know.
Foot job.
What?
Yeah. Foot job. Again, I want to apologize to all the people I'm about to offend. I don't get the foot. I don't get the foot thing.
I skeeve feet.
Yeah. Full on. And by the way, and let me just say, can I just say something too? Again, I'm going to offend some people here. I don't trust a lot of people to use their hands. A lot of bad things can happen. Accidents do happen. People are drunk. They get a little out of control. They come down a little too hard. They're pulling on skin a little bit too much. That's bad. You get the foot involved, and it's even less coordination. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Someone's going to lose a testicle one day, and it's because there's foot job stuff. Yeah. I don't think this episode's going to get monetized. Oh, here we go in Missouri. Accidental cream pie. That's accurate. I'm not going to question that at all.
I can see that.
I can see that being a Missouri thing. Maybe like with a little bit of a cousin twinge in there. I don't know. I don't want to upset anybody. New Jersey. This makes a ton of sense. Femdom. That's where like the female dominates.
Yeah.
Pushes the guy around.
Like the BDSM.
Yeah. All that good stuff. That makes a
Okay.
lot of sense. A lot of Italians in Jersey, a lot of mom worshiping, a lot of female CEOs. I
Oh,
get it.
God.
I get it.
Yes. Yeah.
I could put that all together. Um, this is weird because it said none of these had to do anything with the election, but in Florida, the number one listed term is Trump. So there you go.
What?
Yeah. Now, on a previous episode, the one that we talked about where that woman flirted with him during the town hall.
Oh,
You
I don't
remember
think
that?
she flirted with him.
That's a flirt. I'm still on flirt side. I'm calling it
Okay.
a flirt. I said, were you on that episode with me or was Janine?
No, it was Janine.
I said I don't think Trump's an attractive guy, and I don't think people like in his younger days. I think people tried to play him off that way, but now nobody tries to play like the Trump's a sexy guy card, which is why that moment was so like pronounced. In the comments of that episode and a couple of tweets and Facebook messages, people are like, I find him attractive, and I
Really?
yeah, some people wrote me and said they find the president attractive. But I don't know if that's like, and I didn't follow up, and I should. Did they find him attractive during the Apprentice days, or is it just because he's like the president? Is it the power
Yeah.
thing? What is it exactly? But some people, find President Trump attractive, which is interesting.
No.
But down in Florida, they were. Now, I wonder, and here's the thing, too, because Florida is just a cesspool of just drugs and day drinking and warm weather, and it never gets cold, so no work ever really gets done down there in Florida. I wonder if they were just like, they turned to their computer and started putting in Trump, forgetting the fact that they had Pornhub open. They thought they're on Google, they're on Pornhub, and that's how we got to where we're at right now. Because they're in the middle of one of their, like...
That might. I could see that happening.
Yeah. Because how do you react when you get up and it's like, oh, it's going to be 85 today? It would be nice. Margarita outside at some point. And that's every day in Florida. So, you can't blame them for, it's their environment more than anything. You asked about Pennsylvania, big battleground state. Fat asses is what they were Googling over there in Pennsylvania, or Pornhub searching. Fat ass was the number one thing. Ironically, in Nevada, they searched Vegas. Is Vegas porn a thing?
I don't know.
You would think like showgirl porn would be something, or
Yeah.
But
Is this like for real?
Down in Georgia, where they have two runoff elections still to come, tickling was their thing.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I don't get tickling. That's another weird one. That's as odd
That's
to
a little
me.
freaky.
Yeah, as the foot thing.
Freaky deaky.
In Tennessee, granny porn. They prefer the granny
Okay.
porn down there in Tennessee. Good for you guys and gals.
Tennessee might be another one that needs to go to Canada.
Yeah. So if you're 65, 75, 70 and over and you're hearing this, guess what? Screw Florida. Maybe Tennessee's where you want to be retiring if you're looking for a little bit more action.
Head on to Nashville.
In Ohio, it was cougar. In Massachusetts, it was college.
Oh, God.
That's creepy. In Illinois, thought. I still don't know what a thought is.
That hoe over there.
Yeah, I know that's what it stands for. I know they were using it in Jersey Shore a lot, which I am embarrassed to say is the first place I saw it used. But I don't.
Yeah.
If you asked me to identify a thought out of a lineup, I wouldn't. I wouldn't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Wisconsin, bondage. There you go. And here we go. It took till we are 14 minutes into this episode. First thing, I actually don't know what it is. Prawn.
No idea.
I don't know
what state.
Mississippi. Can you look that up? Look that up while I do our read for Hero Soap Company. Proud sponsor. Maybe not so much for this episode. I'm not entirely sure. Of the the Anthony on Air podcast. They do incredible work. They are a USA business. They are veteran owned. If you buy a bar soap, they send a bar over to the troops fighting for us right now. If you buy a bar soap, they take a little change out of here and they put it towards building mortgage-free homes for our veterans. By the way, they have a new gift box option, so you can send a nice little box over to somebody for the holidays. It's not too early to start thinking about your holiday shopping list. And by the way, a lot of businesses have been hit hard by COVID, and a lot of places are struggling. So now more than ever, it's important to buy American, support our local businesses, support our local entrepreneurs, especially those that we're ready to pay the ultimate sacrifice, and we're lucky enough to come home. This is a great product, so grab a bar. What I'm most proud of is that everybody who's bought this has written back to me. They wrote back to me and they said, "Ant, this really is, you're not lying. This is a great bar of soap." And that's meant the world. And now people are going from buying one bar to signing up for their subscription. Using the promo code Anthony, you get 20% off by doing that. They'll send however much you want a month to your house every single month, and then you never have to think about it. So if you're like, I can't just buy my aunt a bar of soap, or I can't just buy my dad a bar of soap, buy them the subscription, all right? And you'll, bam, some places, you have if you're doing Secret Santa with the office or the family, there's like $75 limits, $50 limits, $100 limits. You're like, how am I going to get up to $100 with soap? Go with the subscription option, and you'll be able to get there eventually. And people will get soap for the whole year that they will absolutely love. If there's a patriot in your family, they are truly, truly going to love this. Check out Hero Soap Company. The link is in the description for this episode, or you can click on the banner on the homepage of anthonyonair.com. Did you find out what prawn is?
But like prawn, Prawn?
No, Pron. Sorry. Still having a little bit of trouble with North Dakota and pumpkin. Jesus. That's making me more nervous than prawn. Also,
so I looked it up.
Go ahead.
And in the Urban Dictionary, it's an accidental or deliberate misspelling of the word porn.
So in a state that you literally have to memorize to spell, like Mississippi, Mississippi, which is hard to spell, they're misspelling porn. That's so funny that I thought that this was some sort of genre of porn, and not that they're just misspelling it down there. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. I'm so dumb for missing that I've lost the ability to make fun of the people in Mississippi for this. I really have. That's incredible. All right, let's go through these pretty quickly here. You stop me if you want to expand on any one of them. South Dakota wrestling porn. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Rhode Island pegging. I think that's
God.
when a chick bangs a dude.
Yes.
Yeah. Furry down in Arkansas, like their furries.
Oh, God.
One of the most
keep going.
hilarious episodes of Entourage is when Turtle finds a furry and she wants him to dress up in like a big rabbit costume or whatever it was. Absolutely hilarious. They're also, if you don't like Tennessee, maybe South Carolina is a place for you, Grandma, because grandma porn's pretty big.
Another one? Wow.
Yeah. In California, swag. I don't know what swag porn is. I don't know. Maybe you can look that up.
That's California?
In California, yeah, swag. In Maine, they like daddy porn. In Wyoming, pregnant porn. Okay. Michigan, face sitting. In Nebraska, wife swapping. So like the swinging over there in Nebraska. In Kansas, chubby. So there you go. If you're having a little bit of a trouble losing the pounds and meeting somebody, yeah, Kansas is a nice place. Alaska search No Nut November. West Virginia BBW is that big black woman, I think.
Yes.
Kentucky Among Us. I'm not entirely sure. In Idaho orgy. And in Washington State, double penetration. Way to go. Oh, I shouldn't forget to mention anal cream pie in Montana. Did you figure out what swag was?
I'm looking.
In Colorado, the number one search term was tushy, which that's creepy because that's like how we refer to our kids' rear end.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like,
oh, does your tushy hurt? Did you wipe your tushy? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird to think of
yeah,
tushy in a sexual way, whereas fat ass is totally acceptable.
yeah, big booty.
In Hawaii, they did 808. I don't even know what that is. That must be code for something. Man, you could tell I'm soft on the porn game. I don't know what some of these things are. Prawn made me laugh so much. That's so funny that I thought that was actually a friggin' a genre. Nothing on swag. Let's see,
So
swag
weird.
porn. Is that a miss? Swag porn videos. Watch swag porn videos here. Okay. Taiwanese couple, Chinese couple. Okay, I'm going to assume this has something to do with Asians. Yep, that's going to be my quick guess. All right.
Okay.
So we solved that issue. So there you go. There's the United States of Pornhub right there, with the most searched terms relatively during election week. Now, people might criticize our election coverage, but I think at this point we should be given some sort of an award because we're going places that nobody else is willing to go to.
Yeah.
Facts, truth. Boris Johnson axes top aide over Princess Nutnut's insult. There you go. British Prime Minister ordered the top aide Dominic Cummings to resign immediately after he learned Cummings' team had made fun of his fiancée in text messages. Johnson and Carrie Simons have a son, Wilfred, who was born in April. They're the first unmarried couple to live at number 10 Downing Street. I guess that's their White House.
Mm.
And to have a baby there. Cummings had already been headed for the door, upset that Simons had blocked a promotion for his Brexit buddy, communications director Lee Kane. Kane quit after Simons' move. Johnson confronted Cummings late Friday in a laundry list of rows. In a closed-door showdown that covered the two's laundry list of rows, from the backstabbing text that referred to Simons as Princess Nutnuts to the UK's second coronavirus lockdown to an assortment of leaks allegedly by Cummings and Kane, the Sun reported. Members of parliament from both the Conservative and Labour parties hailed the departures, according to The Guardian. Lawmakers blame Cummings and Kane for a macho culture and a string of PR flubs that dogged Johnson's premiership. Have you, and I'd love to hear your stories in the comments or send a tweet over if you're listening to this, have you ever insulted the boss's significant other?
No, I have never. That would be really bad.
I did. It was my first radio job ever. I'm going to keep names out of this, but people are going to be able to figure this out. Frank will know right away. First radio job ever, like first 15 minutes of my first radio job ever. And one of the program directors of one of the stations comes in, and I meet with him, and I had met with him a couple of times, but he came in, and he's a really tall, skinny guy. By the way, sweetheart of a guy now. Consider him a friend. I went to his wedding. So this is not an insult to him. This is just a young, naive, stupid Anthony. He comes in, and he's a slender guy, and you see me. You know, I don't even know what that feels like. I've never been slender a day in my life. So I'm looking at him, and I'm like, man, that's kind of a thin belt that he's wearing. Like, it's thin. It's not thick at all. It's like thin. And I'm like, might be a woman's belt that he's wearing. Which, by the way, if you're a guy and you want to wear a women's belt, go ahead. Wear it all you want. But if you're a guy not intending to wear a women's belt and you're wearing a woman's belt, that's hilarious and needs to be made fun of. But it's my first day. I'm in no position to be making fun of anybody. So he comes in and they have like a little exchange, and I see him and, hey, how are you? Good to see you again. Thanks again for the opportunity, blah, blah, blah. He walks out. My boss comes over to me and goes, what do you think of John? And I go, really cool guy. Good dude. I go, I couldn't help but notice, is he wearing a woman's belt today, though? And she goes, yeah, I hate that belt. I've been trying to tell him not to wear it or whatever she says. And I go, why are you, the marketing person, passing it? Until I put it together and figure out that the two of them are dating and eventually got married and they have two beautiful kids now to this day. But she, in like, you could tell she was a little perturbed and was so shocked that that's what I pointed it on. She kind of sided with me. But at the same time, I know that night they had a conversation of like, the new guy thinks that you're a bitch because of your thin belt. So I put my foot in my mouth. But I remember that day, and I when she said, I've been trying to get him to change it, I said to the other guy I work with, I go, are they together? He goes, oh yeah, for a while now. He goes, you didn't know that? I go, no. I go, I might have just insulted him to her. And he goes, that's not good.
Nope.
So I was sweating it for the rest of the day. Actually, still to this day, I never really acknowledged it with them. Probably something that I should do. It's a shame we don't have Janine for this episode because I'm sure she has made an ass out of herself.
Yeah, she definitely has like a story.
Yeah. I mean, she had that great story about sending that crotch shot of hers, the Britney Spears crotch shot, to her boss. I'm sure she's been in some sort of move with a boss's coworker, a boss's significant other.
Yeah. 100%.
So this is Cuddles. This is a local story for New York, but I think a lot of people around the world would be able to relate to this because with the pandemic and everything going on, a lot of people are just doing a mass exodus from big cities.
Yeah.
And New York is no different. Although I think you might be surprised at the numbers when we get into this here. Speaking of numbers, we have a second YouTube channel now, and it's dedicated to taking highlights from the podcast and focusing on single topics. So we do a bunch of topics on the show here. On the second channel, we're going to just cut them up so that you get a single topic that if you're interested in that topic only, you can get it there on the highlights channel, or some of our funnier, more outrageous moments. For instance, when I misconstrued porn for prawn, or vice versa, that will find its way onto the highlight channel. So go subscribe to our second channel. There's a link in the description no matter where you're watching or listening from. We're only doing highlights on YouTube, so if you prefer to listen to the show, which I know a lot of people do, we're not opening up a second podcast feed for highlights. We're going to keep the podcast the way it is, but we'll put this on video form. So if you only listen, consider subscribing to the second YouTube channel for those specific single topic videos and highlight videos. So more than 300,000 New Yorkers have left New York City in the last 8 months, new stats show.
Wow.
It's 300. It's a little confusing, though. So let's get into the numbers. City residents filed 295,000 change of address requests from March 1st all the way through to October 31st, according to data. The data only details when 11 or more forwarding requests were made to a particular county outside of New York City. So the number of moves is actually higher. And single address changes could represent an entire household, which means far more than 300,000 New Yorkers. That just means that 300,000 people have changed their address, and they've forwarded their address outside of New York City to somewhere else. So a family of 4, for instance, would make this number 1.2 million people.
Wow.
Now, obviously, if it's not all families of 4, it's probably some single people, it's probably just some couples, but it's also probably some families of 6 and families of 4 and 3 and 2. So it's a pretty big mix, but it's more than 300,000 changes. That's actually not that much higher than what the state usually does. From March through July, there were 244,000. So that was the biggest time period within that spot, which more than doubles the same time period for 2019. So 244,000 between March and July. In March and July of 2019, 101,000 people changed their address. Not only COVID concerns, but people are also now citing economic worries, school chaos, and rising crime in New York City. Michael Hendricks, director of state and local policy at the Manhattan Institute, which has commissioned surveys about the state of the city, was not surprised by the data. He said, I think people are afraid. They're afraid of catching a deadly virus. They're afraid of crime. They're afraid of quality of life concerns. One thing we also hear about is trash and cleanliness of the city, which is actually surprising because I don't hear that. I hear everything's boarded up. I hear it's a lot more less safe. I don't hear trash.
I've heard that.
Have you?
I heard that the city is like
is dirty.
Kind of on the yeah.
Yeah. Major.
So are they leaving New York, or they're just changing their address in New York?
They're changing their address from a New York City address to outside of New York City.
Okay, so they could be moving to like Long Island or Westchester.
So here's the thing that might surprise you. Now in Long Island, and again, I don't know what your city is like, but here in New York, the major burb areas are Jersey. You got Westchester, you got Connecticut, and then you have Long Island, which is split up into two counties, Nassau, which is very crowded because it's closer to the city, and Suffolk, which is where the Hamptons are, which is where we are, which is a lot less dense and a lot less populated.
Yes.
Would you believe me if I told you that Suffolk County actually outbeat Nassau County in the amount of people that moved? Because
I wouldn't be shocked.
I was shocked to see that.
No, I think because now the Hamptons are considered Suffolk.
Yes.
So people that have $1 million or were renting that change their address to then maybe their summer homes. They're staying out here, and we've seen it.
Has to be. And even though I knew that, I still would have guessed more people would have left and gone to Nassau just to be closer to the city, though. I'm still surprised.
But if they don't need to be in the city, what's
good point. That's good. That's a good point. And that's, by the way, that's a good point by Cuddles, because that's also the reason why a lot of people go to Nassau is because they want to be on Long Island, but they want to be close enough to commute to their job in the city. So that's a good point. But 21,362 change of request forms to Suffolk County were made, and only 18,731 to Nassau County. 15,000 to Westchester, and 9,000 were sent over to New Jersey. So, the Hamptons, where many people have their second homes, according to this study, enrolled their kids in schools, was a desired destination with 6,500 requests to 6 East End zip codes. East Hampton topped the list of requests with 2,769, Southampton second with 1,398. So you're right. It was mostly it's a lot of the Hamptons. Yeah. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Only 6,500 out of 21. So still a majority of it was to other parts of Suffolk County, but still that is a pretty significant chunk. Yeah.
I mean, you could come out to Suffolk and you can get a chunk of land, because they're looking to give you, in certain areas, at least by us, you can get like an acre to a half acre of land.
Yeah.
By the way, our schools are open, like
they are.
Whereas the city's like a hybrid.
They are. By the way, though, so East Hampton was number 1 out of all the zip codes.
Okay.
So Suffolk in total was the largest, but East Hampton, out of all the zip code breakdowns, was the largest. So the most people went to East Hampton than than Jersey, than anywhere else. This, by the way, is only New York City is made up of the 5 boroughs, but this is only Manhattan.
I don't think people maybe some people leaving like Brooklyn and like Astoria.
Probably, but take a guess of what the number 1 neighborhood in Manhattan was. What neighborhood lost the most? You were right about East Hampton, so think along those lines.
Like the Upper East Side?
Yeah, Upper West Side.
Upper West Side, okay.
Yeah, Upper West Side. which is generally Upper East Side, Upper West Side. That's genuinely where a ton of the money resides, basically. Yeah, 3,300 people from the Upper West Side, 3,000 people from another zip code in the Upper West Side, Murray Hill, another zip code on the West Side. So a lot of people moving from the Upper West Side. Yeah,
the money's moving.
We were talking about this the other day. I forgot what I was talking about Ghislaine and New York City and all that stuff. And somebody from Vancouver reached out to me and she's like, "Aunt, you can't live." I said, "You can't live off of $100,000 in New York City, a salary a year." And this woman reached out to me very kindly and she was like, "Aunt, you can't live off of 100,000, and I live in Vancouver." And I'm like, I was kind of one of those like snap to realizations where it's like, oh yeah, I always looked at the world as New York is the most expensive place to live. But now when you look around, like that's still true. But Chicago, Los Angeles, Dallas, like every major city is facing essentially the same problem where you got to be making a ton of money to live in the downtown area.
It's getting too expensive.
Yeah. And like even Canada, which I gleefully look at is just like perfect. And this is like everything about it I love, from the hockey culture to the poutine and everything. I'm just such a big fan of Canada. I've never wanted to move out of the United States of America, but when my wife and I sit there and we talk about places we'd much rather live in, a majority of them are still in the States, but we have talked about Canada has entered that conversation from time to time.
Well, we went to Toronto and we really liked it.
Loved it. We really, really loved it. I was in Montreal. It was nice.
Shows. The real estate ones.
Oh yeah,
they're always in like Canada.
Yeah, like what is it? House Hunters?
Yeah, they're always like in Canada.
Yeah, and we realized why. So we realized why, by the way, because aside from the fact that it's probably cheaper to produce up there, for what you're even though it's crazy money, for what you're getting in Canada, it's just nicer. Because a couple of times, like they came down to other places in the States, and one time specifically, I'll never forget this. They did an episode in our old neighborhood where my wife and I grew up, and for the money and what it would look like I turned to my wife and I go, everybody must be super depressed by this episode because they're in this disgusting filth, and it's like $900,000, and like nobody's gonna watch this episode and think that this is actually really happening,
Yeah.
Whereas like in Toronto or wherever they're shooting this up in Canada for that money, you're looking at something pretty palatial and nice, Yeah,
but we grew up in Queens, and anywhere in the 5 boroughs is going to be expensive.
Now it's crazy. It's like it's even more expensive. Like it's crazy what housing costs have become in this area. And we've been watching this since the pandemic happened. We had a neighbor of ours put their house up for sale. What did it sell in the first 2 days?
Yeah. And they just put it up just to see, and they had no place to like go. That's how fast everything went.
They had no place to go.
They had no place to go.
And
it sold at asking.
And we were saying that a lot of people, because we were out the other day and we overheard some lady screaming at her real estate agent that she's like, I'll just sit on the house. I don't have to move. I think a lot of people are like, let's put our house up for sale and see. Like wildest dreams, what would you want? And the wife or husband answers and they go, oh, let's put our house. Let's see if we can get that. And then they're getting it. And in some cases getting above that. And some of them are looking at this like, this is too good. Like, we're going to take this.
Yeah. Well, that woman was yelling at her realtor because, and I remember her saying this, that they came in and they kind of like lowballed them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is not.
It's not the time to do that.
Nope. Because inventory is very scarce.
It's a seller's market right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to see if people are seeing that. I also love bringing this kind of stuff up because we have a lot of people watching from Australia and, England and other parts of the world. And I'm curious, like Australia, even more so. Like, I'm curious to see what they say about it because they always have interesting takes, especially when we talk about pandemic stuff. I think they've just handled it so much better than we have. I mean, there are a lot less densely populated areas in Australia, which they'll admit to, but
But
it's
isn't like the whole country locked down?
Australia.
Yeah, I thought that
It
they're
was.
still
Are they
locked
still?
down.
Perhaps I don't know.
That's what I thought I read, that they were still like the whole country is locked down. I watched a video. He was in the US. He went back there. He had to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks that the government sets up, and he had to pay like $3,000 after the 2 weeks. Then, like, he could go, but he had to stay in this hotel.
Really?
It was crazy. Yeah, he lives in like Australia. I would love to go there. Hint, hint, hint.
um. Let's see. Australia goes on high alert after first outbreak in months. Yeah, no, I think they locked down super strict, but it actually they eradicated it, I believe. I think they've handled it the best out of everybody. I could be wrong about that, but from what people have been saying to me in the comments and what I've been seeing, like, and it's kind of easier. You got to get on it's a long ass flight from most places, closer places than it's still a long flight. It's its own island. So arguably it's kind of easier. You know what I mean? But still,
Yeah.
I think they should be applauded for what they've been able to do. They've kept it out. They've kept numbers low.
No, I know, but it's kind of hard. Like, how many people, like, what's the population?
Let's see here. Australia population 25 million.
That's like New York,
That's
New
like
Jersey,
New York.
maybe
Yeah,
Connecticut.
it's not a lot of people. It's not a lot of people.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. I still think when they got it down to actual zero, which is more than we've been able to do.
Yeah.
You got to
That's
kind of
amazing.
look at it and go, what are they doing? So much better than what we're doing, And again, I'm not advocating for massive lockdowns, okay? So save I'm unsubscribing to you in the comments, okay? Take it easy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we don't want a lockdown, because we can't do that again. Me and you, meaning me and you, cannot do that again.
We barely survived the first one. I don't want to take a chance. I think that's it. I think that's all we got here. You got anything else there, Cuddles?
No. I find out what's going on in the world from you.
That's dangerous. Podcast. Yeah, that's dangerous. And I appreciate everybody that does that, but also read things, because there's a lot of jokes on this podcast, a lot of dry humor. So, but thank you.
I have 2 kids. Disney is on the TV the whole time.
No, our podcast. I've been saying this. Our podcast has grown far beyond my wildest dreams. Like, numbers that I thought we would be hitting in year 3 and 4. We've already far surpassed. So, it's crazy. And by the way, I can't implore people enough to share it. Just continue to tell your friends and family about it, because that's how we've been growing. We've totally been organic. And it's been really great. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in and seeing the excitement around it when we put a new episode out. And
I think it's so great that
it's been fun.
Everyone from like Australia, London, like all over, and then they comment, and people can conversate, and it's great. It's
been extraordinary. It really, really has been. And we joked one episode like that, we could make fun of Alaska because nobody from there watches, and then we had like 100 comments of people from Alaska. So we were like, oh shit, all right, so we got to find the next place we could just endlessly make fun of where there's nobody watching or listening. But
Italy,
yeah. I have to see if we got anybody from Italy. The only way you find out is if you insult them. That's really basically it. So I think we took care. I think we're going to find out a lot with the porn map discussion. I think we're going to get a lot of A lot of people confirming locations, with that porn map or that prawn map, as I'm going to start calling it from now on. Don't forget to check out our merch store. We've got so much merch out there. Our original microphone logo is there, and we've tacked on the coffee mug and the wine glass look, which is great for ladies. Again, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all coming up. If you got a football-loving beer guy in your life, check out that beer sweatshirt, that beer mug sweatshirt. It's simple, it's nice, it's comfortable as all heck. And, of course, if you've got somebody who loves a good wisecrack, That's What She Said shirt. And I mean, anybody can wear any of these shirts, but the Not Now collection, I think, speaks to moms more than anything else. So
yes,
you can check that out all on the description below, wherever you're watching or listening from. And, of course, at anthonyonair.com. We have our full merch store listed at anthonyonair.com. So check that out. And don't forget to subscribe to our second channel. I feel better pushing it, and we're going to be pushing it a lot more because we're pushing out a lot more videos now. Tim has been working on it, and he's working his rear end off all hours of the night, over the weekend. He's texting me, showing me things. He's doing a great job. So I want to thank Tim for joining the team and pumping out a good product. And check out that second channel. It's single topics, and it is highlights from the podcast. So quicker videos that you can watch and enjoy and share around. Cuddles, thank you so much for popping in on this episode again.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was my pleasure.
Aww.
Are we going to play porn map after this?
No.
That is why we can't survive another lockdown. All right, thanks so much for checking out this episode. Really do appreciate it. Links and more information over at anthonyonair.com. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.